Good morning, class! Before we start our lesson for today, let us ask first the guidance of our Almighty God to enlighten our minds and completely understand our topic for today. Okay, Mark, would you please lead the prayer? Amen. Okay, class, go to your groups silently. Group 1, Group 2, Group 3. Okay, sit properly and please pick up the pieces of paper under your chairs. Okay? Are all settled down? Okay. Before we start our lesson, always remember our class rules. What are those? Yes, work as a team, be responsible, listen to others, be respectful to everyone, be kind and helpful, and do your best. Yes, now, is there any absentee? Class secretary, kindly check the attendance. Okay, thank you. Okay, class, you look outside. What can you see? Yes, Jessie. Yes, there is a lot of trees and plants. You, all of us, and our environment are belong to the ecosystem. Okay, but before we open our lesson for today, let's have our review. Okay, what is biodiversity? Bless. Very good. Biodiversity is the term used to describe the enormous variety of life on Earth. How about evolution? Okay, Princess. Yes, very good. Evolution is the changes in the characteristics of organisms over a long period of time. Now, I have a video clip here. Listen and watch attentively because later I will ask you questions regarding the video that we watch. Okay.
Science class, not too long ago, I was introduced to the concept of an ecosystem. And it changed my life forever. Not sure what an ecosystem is? Don't worry. Today, we'll be heading outside to learn what ecosystems are, how we classify them, and why they matter to you and me. Let's get started. Ecosystems are communities of plants, animals, and their surroundings. They can be as large as Yellowstone National Park or as small as a single tree. Everything in the ecosystem is connected through a network of interactions which allow energy and nutrients to flow throughout the entire system. For example, let's think about a forest. Trees turn sunlight and nutrients into leaves, branches, and fruits, which provide food and shelter for animals. These animals help the trees grow by spreading their seeds in pollen and create nutritious soil when they produce waste or die and decompose. We'll talk about all of this in more detail in future videos, but for now, the important thing to remember is that ecosystems are communities of many interconnected plants, animals, and their surroundings. We usually define ecosystems based on the types of plants and animals which can be found there. There are two main types of ecosystems, terrestrial and aquatic. Terrestrial ecosystems are land-based and include habitats such as forests and grasslands. Aquatic ecosystems are water-based and include habitats such as lakes, rivers, estuaries, and the ocean. Both of these types of ecosystems can occur in many different climates and include a wide variety of organisms depending on factors such as temperature, precipitation, and geographic features. For example, a forest in North Carolina might be home to animals such as red-shouldered hawks or black rat snakes, but a forest in Costa Rica could have scarlet macaws or bird snakes. In later videos, we'll learn about the different jobs that animals can have in an ecosystem. But for now, let's talk about why ecosystems are important to you and me. For one thing, healthy ecosystems ensure that a wide variety of plants and animals are able to survive and thrive. This variety of life is known as biodiversity. Biodiversity helps ecosystems recover from changes such as wildfires, diseases, or invasive species, which could seriously upset the natural balance. When an ecosystem becomes unbalanced, it is harder for animals to find food and shelter, and plants can get the nutrients that they need to grow. This matters to you because healthy ecosystems keep our air and water clean and provide nutritious food for us and other animals. Also, studying these natural areas helps us learn how to protect them and keep them healthy. Can you think of an ecosystem that you enjoy spending time in? Maybe you like going on vacation to the beach or mountains, or playing soccer at a park. What animals and plants do you find in those places? When you make observations about the natural world, you are learning about ecosystems just like scientists. Thanks so much for joining me today and learning what ecosystems are, how we classify them, and why they're so important to you and me. In future videos, we'll be exploring different types of ecosystems to learn about the amazing animals and plants which we can find there. Until then, stay curious and keep adventuring everywhere. This has been Zeno of the Wild Report, signing out.
Did you enjoy the video that we watched, class? Yes, very good. Now, what did you observe? Okay, Kevin. Yes, very good. There is a lot of species in the ecosystem. What else? Okay, Anna. Yes, there are animals who eat other animals in order them to survive. Okay, now let's have our activity. Each group will unscramble the words. Fastest group to finish will be given 20 points. For second is 15 points. And for the third group is 10 points. Okay. Unscramble. This activity is called Unscramble Me. I will give you 3 minutes. Okay. Here's your pencil pen. Okay. For group 2 and group 2. Okay. Start. Now let us check your answers. For group 1, producers. Producers or producer. Very good. Group consumers. Matter, energy, food web, and food chain. Okay, very good. Group 2, producers, consumers, matter, energy, food web, food chain. Very good. Now, group 3, producers, consumers, matter, energy, food web, and food chain. Wow, very good. All of you got the correct answer. Let's have a mabuhay clap. 1, 2, 3, mabuhay! Yes, very good. All of you got the correct answer, but the fastest group goes to group 2. They got 20 points. Then second is group 1. They have 15 points, and group 3, 10 points. Now, class, select a representative on your group and answer the question and give an example. Okay, for group 1, what is producer and consumer? For group 2, what is matter and energy? And group 3, differentiate the food chain to food web. Okay, class, very good. All of the representatives give the correct answers and the examples. Okay, now, what is our lesson for today? Yes? Our lesson for today is about flow of energy and matter in ecosystem. Okay? But before we open the topic, I will give you first the objective. At the end of the 45 minutes discussion, the students will be able to explain how diversity increases the probability of adaptation and survival of organisms in a changing environment with at least 85% proficiency level. Okay? So, what is an ecosystem? Okay, Marvi. Yes, very good. Ecosystem consists of organisms and their environment. So, the biodiversity of the species has different needs in order them to adapt and survive the changing environment. All the ecosystems having their playing a role. Okay, so what are the rules of the living organisms in the ecosystem? First is the producers. Yes, very good. So, what is producers? Anyone? Okay, Michael. Yes, very good. Producers or autotrophs are organisms who can make their own food by the use of sunlight. The best example of this is, yes, plants and algae. The producers can make their own food by the process of photosynthesis. So, what is photosynthesis? Photosynthesis is a process by which green plants and some other organisms use sunlight to synthesize foods from carbon dioxide and water. Photosynthesis in plants generally involve the green pigment chlorophyll and generates oxygen as byproduct and carbohydrates. So, it is the producers who can make their own food. So, what are the examples of producers? Yes, plants like grass. Now, here is some examples. Producers or autotrophs, trees, grass, berries, nuts, algae, and phytoplankton. So, this is the examples of producers. They can make their own food by the use of sunlight. Now, what is the other rule? Okay, it's consumer. Very good. Now, what is consumer? Okay, Sheila. Yes, very good. Consumers are the organisms who cannot make their own food. They need to eat other animals or plants to have their own food. Okay? To have their foods. They eat plants or other animals. There are three main types of consumers. What are they? Yes, herbivore. Herbivores are animals who eat plants. And carnivore is the animals who eat meat. And omnivores are animals who eat both plants and animals, like raccoon. So, what type of consumers are humans? Okay, Kevin. Yes, very good. Omnivores, because we eat both plants and animals. So, there is that types of consumers. The herbivores are get their energy only from plants. The carnivores get their energy only from animals, and omnivores get their energy both plants and animals. Like the examples in the pictures. Herbivores are panda, deer, rabbit, and grasshopper. The carnivores are in the marine ecosystem are shark, crocodiles, and piranha. And the omnivores are pig, bears, and human. Okay. So, how energy flow through ecosystem? All living things need energy. They need the power to process of life. For example, it takes energy to grow, stay alive, and to produce an offspring. We need energy to stay alive. Okay. Now, remember, energy can't be created or destroyed, but it can only change in form. Energy changes its form as it moves through ecosystem. So, how is the flow of energy? So, the flow of energy, most organisms on Earth get their energy either directly or indirectly from the sun. Like in this picture, the energy from the sun got by the producers. So, producers get the energy from the sun and use it to make their own food. Then the herbivore, as the primary consumers, get some of the energy from the producers, which is the plant. Okay, so the primary consumers can give some of the energy to the secondary consumers and the tertiary consumers. What are the diagrams that can show us and visualize the flow of energy in the ecosystem? Yes, food chain. So what is food chain? Food chain is a simple diagram that shows one-way flow of energy through an ecosystem. So, like this in the picture. The maize is the producer, the locust is the primary consumer, the lizard is the secondary consumer, and the snake is the tertiary consumer. The primary consumer locust get some energy from the producer and then give it to the lizard and to the snake. The other type of diagram that we are going to use to see the flow of energy is the food web. So, what is food web? Okay, Michael. Yes, food web is consisting of interconnected diagram of food chains. Okay. So, here is the example. So, the plants are the producers, and the rabbits, squirrels, mice, seed-eating birds, herbivore, insects are the example of primary consumers. And the foxes, hawks, can be tertiary or secondary consumers. As we can see, there are interconnected food chains. Okay? So, to more understood how the flow of energy to the ecosystem, we need to have the trophic level. So, a trophic level is a group of organisms with an ecosystem which occupies same level of food chain. So, due to the way that the energy is utilized and is transferred between levels, the total biomass of organisms on each trophic decreases from bottom up. So, a trophic level will start in bottom to up. So, only around 10% of energy consumed is converted into biomass, whereas the rest is lost as heat, as well as to movement and other biological functions. So, because of gradual loss of energy, the biomass of each trophic level is often viewed as pyramid or called trophic pyramid. As you can see in this picture, the energy flow is started from the sun's energy to the primary producers. So, the primary producers got 100% of the sun's energy. And then, when the primary consumers eat the producers, it will get 10% of the energy. And it can be converted into biomass. And what happened to 90%? Yes, it will lose into heat energy and other biological factors. So, as it is go up, the percentage will be smaller because the 10% of the primary consumer, when the secondary consumers eat it, it will become 1%. Because 10% of 10 10% of 10 is 1%. So, as you can see here. So, there is the loss of energy. So, okay, that is the trophic pyramid. So, how matter moves through the ecosystem? Living things need non-living matter as well as energy. So, what is the use of matter? Yes, matter can be used to build bodies. So, what is matter? Matter is used to build bodies. They also need it to carry out the process of life. Any non-living matter that living things needed is called nutrients. So, who can give example of nutrients? Okay, Sheila. Yes, nitrogen. Nitrogen is example of nutrients. So, as you can see in the picture, the cycle of matter. Unlike energy, matter is recycled in the ecosystem. In the energy flow, it started from the sun to the producer to the consumers. But in the matter cycle, we will start to the decomposers. When the decomposers decompose the body of the dead animals or dead organisms, it will produce a nutrient. So, when the nutrients, the abiotic chemicals, carbon dioxide, oxygen, nitrogen, and minerals, it will go to the roots of the plants. So, the plants will absorb the nutrients. When the primary consumers eat the producer, it will absorb the nutrients. So, when the carnivore, which is the secondary consumer, eat the herbivore, it will have the nutrients. It will absorb the nutrients. And when all these living matters died, it will go back to the decomposers and the cycle will repeat. Okay? So, as you can see, like the energy flow, there are also heat that is lost. Okay. So, for further knowledge and information, let's watch this video.
Matter and energy in organisms and ecosystems. How is energy transferred in the food chain? Objective. We are going to learn how energy in an animal's food was once the energy from the sun. You have the energy to play at wellness, all thanks to the sun's energy. What is energy? Energy is a usable power that comes from heat, electricity, or some other source. Bonus knowledge. What is the sun's energy? The sun's energy is a product of the chemical reaction of hydrogen, a gas, in the sun's core. The reaction is caused because of high pressure and hot temperatures. Hydrogen is changed into helium and energy is produced from the chemical reaction. This is called nuclear fusion. Plants get materials they need for growth chiefly from air and water. Carbon dioxide from the air and water help form plant matter. Energy from the sun is captured by plants in the chemical process that forms plant matter. Photosynthesis. Plants use the sun's energy along with air and water to produce their own food, which are sugars. Photosynthesis is water, carbon dioxide, and light giving off oxygen and glucose. Matter is transported into, out of, and within systems. Carbon dioxide in the air, water from rain, and energy from the sun go in. Sugars are formed and used by the plant food. Oxygen that we breathe comes out. Since animals cannot make their own food using the sun's energy, they eat plants or other animals that eat plants. The energy released from food was once the energy from the sun. Food provides animals with the material they need for body repair and growth and the energy they need to maintain body warmth and for motion. Repair, growth, warmth, and motion. Energy can be transferred in various ways and between objects. Write one example and submit to Miss Butler. What is a food chain? A food chain shows how each living thing gets food and how nutrients and energy are passed from creatures to create. All organisms in the food chain need sun's energy to survive. What would life be without the sun?
Created using cartoon.
Okay, now that we have the additional knowledge about our lesson, let's have our application. So, each group will draw in a provided cartolina or manila paper the following task and give a brief discussion in the front of the class. I will give you 10 minutes to finish and follow the rubrics. So, here's our rubrics. Presentation, 15 points. Creativity, 20 points. Group cooperation, 25 points. So, it's total of 60 points. So, do your best. So, for group 1, draw food chain and food web. For group 2, draw the trophic pyramid. And group 3, draw the flow of matter. Okay, let's go. Do it, class. Okay, class, very good. You do it all very well. Your presentation, like your drawings, is so creative. Now, I will give it the grade. So, for group 1, is it so creative? So, for creativity, it is 20 points. Creativity, 20 points. For group 2, creativity, 20 points. As well as for group 3. Your presentation is 15 points because you presented your works very well. So, each of you got 15 points. So, for your group cooperation, as all of the members in the group cooperated, I will give you 25 points. So, all of you in our application, you get perfect score plus the group activity. The winner is the group 2, which got 20 points. Group 1 is 15 and group 3 is 10 points. So, a total of 70, 60, 80, and 75. Okay, very good. So, let's have our mabuhay clap. 1, 2, 3, mabuhay! For all of you, job well done. So, is there any questions in our lesson? Okay, very good. So, if there is no question, let's proceed to our evaluation so that we can measure your understanding in the lesson. So, get a 1-note sheet of paper and answer this. Okay. I will give you 10 minutes. Are you all done? Okay, group leaders, please collect the papers and pass it in front. Okay? Now, if there is no question, is there any question? None so far? Okay, very good. So, it is our lesson for today. And then, here is your assignment. Research about the relationship of biodiversity and stability. Write it in your notebook. Okay, and pass it tomorrow. Okay, class? Okay. Now, that's all for today. Goodbye and thank you so much for your cooperation.